Namaste, angels. This is the weekly love reading for the period of April 11th today through April 17th, which is the Saturday to come. This week's dice, beginning dice, are weekend away. It's 50-50 and party. Spirit says 29. Still weekend away. And of course, 29 is about spiritual partnership. And maybe some like coupled humanitarianism. And email could be a means of contacting somebody. With the cards, I got 2 decks that I'm going to shuffle before you. Starting with the Rider-Waite deck, we're beginning with the 5 of Wands in reverse. As it relates to love, this is a card that says, like, yeah, you may end up in some sort of like debate, disagreement, argument even, but it doesn't have to be an argument. Like, it can be something that you've been avoiding talking about, finally forces its way to the surface to be talked about and dealt with. And rather than be a conflict that could be damaging to a relationship, like the 5 of Wands upright, 5 of Wands in reverse, and specific to love, is about this conversation, dialogue, bettering the relationship, strengthening the relationship, or resulting in a more positive outcome than the 5 of Wands upright, or than avoiding talking about what needs to be talked about. I just got guided to. So before the general reading, or during the general reading, I talked about what I've been seeing, and maybe there's going to be cards that confirm it. Maybe that's why I was made to do it now. For this week, so I've been talking about like Judas and stuff over the past couple of weeks, and that person in your life that is not really your friend, doesn't really mean you well, maybe is jealous of you. So in the story, right, Judas, he was regretful afterwards, when it was too late. He was regretful almost immediately, like when they took Jesus away. And ultimately he killed himself, because that's how horrible he felt over what he'd done. And Pontius Pilate, the king, he is believed to have like retired and possibly died, like just retired and gone away somehow. He was regretful. What he should have just prosecuted the 3 criminals, right? Not replacing a criminal with Jesus, or giving the crowd an opportunity to do that. But he did. So it's dealing with your actions. And I don't think it's going to be you necessarily that's doing that. I think more often than not, it's going to be somebody else who is dealing with this in your regard. So somebody that hurt you, or that believes they hurt you. Somebody who's dealing with their own pain and regret and resentment, possibly for like abandoning you. That's the word I was given during the general reading to say. Abandoning you, maybe just like dropping you like a hot potato in the midst of something, left you flat, left you hanging when you needed them, when you needed support, and or just wronged you, possibly because of jealousy or some sort of like toxic obsession or something weird possibly. So let me continue with these. So this is again a discussion that we need to have, and maybe those things that we're talking about happened in the past, but if we have a discussion now, we can maybe we won't be friends again, or even romantic partners or interests again, but we can at least give each other closure and heal the relationship to the extent that it can be healed. The next card is Major Arcana, the Devil. It's upright. This was in reverse. It's upright. And look what's behind it. It's the 2. Oh, okay, there's the abandonment. And so it's possibly an ex. It's possibly an ex that really, really is a genuine soulmate of sorts. Maybe not necessarily the one. And look what happened here. How the Page of Pentacles just popped up. It's all this earth energy. I was going to say, maybe an earth sign. Look at this. Maybe an earth sign, a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. The devil represents the sign of Capricorn. We have the, let me, I don't want to do too much. I mean, I could go on forever, obviously. But I guess we were meant to see all of these. So, the devil and the Two of Cups can be about somebody being addicted to love or addicted to a particular relationship. And when it's addicted to love, it's like those people that like you just have to be in a relationship. You don't take the time to make sure it's the right relationship or an appropriate relationship. You just need to be in a relationship always. Or you're always searching for love or for a relationship, and maybe not necessarily nurturing yourself as an individual and a single person, you know. But here's the right behind it. We have the Five of Pentacles. So that it can be about abandonment, or at least a feeling of abandonment, even where it's not necessarily true. The Two of Cups tends to signify a genuine, like, soulmate connection. But we know that just because it's a genuine soulmate connection doesn't mean that necessarily we're going to treat each other right, especially if we're, you know, at a stage of the journey where we're, you know, just beginning to learn and grow and to heal ourselves. That's when you're most bound to hurt other people. Hurt people, you know. We have the Hermit, which in love, whether it's upright or reversed, tends to be about rekindling a relationship from the past. We have the Ten of Pentacles, so it's something like where it otherwise could be a really beautiful relationship, a solid foundation and family if it were upright. But interestingly enough, sometimes in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles can be a situation of distrust or something. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse, which can be about like inequity, inequality. I'm doing more for you than you're doing for me. Only, you know, one of us only knows how to take and not give. And then we have the Tower. You know, and then you saw that there was the Six of Swords in reverse. There was the Three of Swords upright if we continue and keep going. So I think I was meant to stop there and tell the story there, or what I've been seeing, what I've been and what I mentioned in the general because of those cards. So if I didn't finish, what I was trying to say was this week we will probably have the people who are trying to make amends. And if they're not actually reaching out to you, maybe via email, then, you know, on their own, they could be dealing with these feelings of, and this is like whether you actually feel this way or not, they could be dealing with these feelings of this person must be, you know, really miserable, the way I hurt them so bad. I feel, you know, you could have moved on with your life and be fine right now, right? Maybe you learned from the lesson, you took the lesson and you went about your business. But they at least feel that they left you, you know, high and dry in a really horrible place, and that you may not be healed from it. So they're either going to be dealing with that on their own and or reaching out to you. Toward this end, right? Happiness, positivity, you know, good connections. And look what's behind it. It's the Six of Cups, which can be about, again, people coming back into your life, people from your past returning to your life. And in love, similar to the Five of Wands in reverse, like dealing with a situation that we've been sweeping under the rug. It's finally going to come up to be dealt with. The Three of Cups and the Three of Wands together, both in reverse. The Three of Cups to me is always positive, particularly in love. It's going to be talking about like if you're single, you may very well meet somebody that's going to be like a really good match for you, possibly through friends or like some sort of group, social group, maybe co-workers or something like that. And if you are coupled, it too can kind of be about dealing with something, you know, that's sort of popping up or surfacing to be dealt with. The Three of Wands in reverse that we also saw, right? Three of Wands. Yeah. What was I going to say about the Three of Wands? Oh, yeah, I had a mental blank for a minute. The Three of Wands in reverse can mean that a recent, I don't know, recent is relative, but a recent difficulty in a relationship is coming to an end. So maybe it comes to an end because we deal with it, because we have a discussion, or we release whatever fear, pain, negative emotions, regret, resentment, whatever we were dealing with as a consequence of it. That can be what the cards mean too. Also, we have with this next deck, we're starting with Judgment. And yes, it can be about judging other people. The Three of Wands for singles, speaking of judging other people, suggests that we not like judge a book by its cover. We give people a chance if they're interested in us, and we find ourselves at all able to give them an opportunity in dating or something. We should. So I'm done with that now. Now this one, Judgment, first and foremost, is about ourselves, right? The way we judge ourselves, the way we look at ourselves, perceive ourselves. So again, it could be somebody that's really dealing with their own emotions and they're presuming that the other person is feeling a certain way. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't reach out if you're the one that's feeling like you hurt somebody. Even if they're not thinking about it, your need to like apologize and make amends is on you. When we make these deals with the devil, or we do devilish things, there always comes this time when you're supposed to you gotta pay the piper, and so that could be your means of payment, is that you have to reconcile this to get back on the right side of things. That has nothing to do with the other person, because the other person can accept or not accept your apology. That part is not up to you. So Judgment, as I was saying, is more so about you and how you look at yourself and feel about yourself. But in this case, I do think it can have to do with other people too. Sophia, this card came up last week. It was, I thought it was about one thing, and then I said, you know what? No, I feel funny about that. Let me read it from the book. And sure enough, what I had said wasn't completely correct. This is a mother energy, Sophia. She is like a divine mother. That part is right. But what the card means is that somebody basically needs you and your forgiveness, and your support or something. So in some cases, like I said, we are going to be correcting that person does need to hear from us so they can have closure too, right? And there'll be gratitude attached with that. And there also has to be acceptance of responsibility, acceptance of our circumstances, and, surrender to what is. Then we have God also upright, through whom and from whom we can always get the support if it's not here from, man. Give these a little shuffle. And cut. Very nice. I didn't read what those cards were that I knocked away. Guess they weren't important. Eternal Embrace is our overall energy, and I think that's really beautiful for a love reading. And the next card is in reverse, but it's Intimacy. So that is as well. All right. I'll put these aside for a second. The card this week that represents the signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius for love. And it's that Three of Swords. It's back. It's in reverse, however. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Two of Cups. Maybe because Venus enters Taurus this week. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Ooh. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Very nice. Okay. Just making sure everything's in frame, and it is. So, going back to our overall energy, the Ten of Cups, so we're starting with that. So just now when I was talking about a person feeling that another person might feel a certain way or be dealing with particular emotions behind something that they, went through together, it's not always the case. And that's pretty much what this card talks about as it relates to love. The Ten of Cups says, like, if you're worrying about a romantic relationship and this card comes up in that reading, it shows up as a message to tell you that you have nothing to worry about. That you and the person you love, or your mate, or, the love interest, or whatever, are like on the same page and feel the same way. If you're in a relationship, but you haven't yet made a commitment, and you're waiting, and you're like, I hope that it happens. It will happen, possibly not this week. And possibly not while Venus is in Taurus at all, because that happens this week. Venus enters Taurus. But it's coming. It definitely warns you against self-sabotage. Don't mess it up because you're worried that whether or not it's coming, and so you jump into fear and you ruin your own relationship. You know what I'm talking about. Self-sabotage. For single people, it's a card of just feeling good about love and life and in a healthy way. And I would say that some is coming your way as well if you're open to it. So moving on to the fire signs this week. Again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The Three of Swords in reverse is not as bad as the Three of Swords upright. And it really points to disagreements, again, misunderstandings, sadness, sorrow, regret, maybe resentment, separation, all the things that I've been talking about, since I started this reading. It's also possible that a relationship recently ended or just ended, or that one that you expected to come together hasn't or never did. So that would be an example of how the Three of Swords and the Ten of Cups could be coming up at the same time. Because I said here, if you're waiting for a relationship to come together and it hasn't, it's coming. Here, you could be all sorts of twisted because you think it's not coming. Meanwhile, it is. All right. If we allow ourselves to sink into a self-persecution, or in essence, again, a self-sabotage, then we will, there's a potential of just continuing to manifest further negative emotions and negativity into our own lives. But it's okay, and then we should allow ourselves to feel any pain that results from it, and to go through that process in a natural and healthy way. Card also shows up to remind us that, we all have more than one soulmate. And it's funny because I just used the term in talking about the Devil and the Two of Cups together. I said this is some kind of soulmate. It's not necessarily the one, It could be sometimes a soulmate is toxic, right? It's not soulmate doesn't necessarily mean the person you spend the rest of your life with. It means somebody that we have a contractual agreement with at a soul level. To meet again or something. Or we have some lesson that we have to work through together. Or one of us has to trigger the other, for some sort of growth. It's not always just about being together romantically and happily ever after. So it also reminds us, yes, we have more than one soulmate. And, if something has ended and you think permanently, that's not to say that you're not going to have love again. So moving on to the Two of Cups and the Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Again, your ruler, Venus, Taurus, moves into your sign this week, which for the most part is a very positive thing. And I talk about exactly what it means in the general reading at the end of the reading after the cards. Venus is at home in Taurus, but because Taurus is, the bull and bullheaded, as in stubborn, sometimes love relationships can experience some difficulty during this transit. So, but I think that it's showing up here, the Two of Cups for you, because you do have, the goddess of love in your sign. And Virgo, you will soon, not this week, but next week, Mercury also enters Taurus. But I just think you're getting this energy as well, as is Capricorn, apparently. So very nice. The Two of Cups is a card that's about true love, like real partnership, balanced partnership. So that equity that I was saying was maybe lacking in other relationships, like with the Six of Pentacles in reverse, not at all lacking here. There's reciprocity, there is commitment, like all of the things that most of us hope for in love and a relationship, that doesn't mean that you can just like say or do whatever though, and the relationship's just going to last. You still have to, do what it takes to keep a relationship solid and together. That's still necessary. We're single and looking for love, and this card pops up for us, very likely again to be headed our way real soon. So, like, no worries, just relax. Moving on to the Devil reverse for us air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And, in reverse, again, it's similar to the Three of Swords. It's not as bad as upright. And it can be telling us that, our relationship, trouble could be brewing. Let's put it that way. Particularly in a long-term relationship, one or both of us could be feeling as though we are like stuck, trapped in the relationship. We want out. And with that in mind, if we're both on the same page and both feeling the same way and we both want out, but we've been afraid to talk about this, that's why, like I said, the Five of Wands is a card that shows up and says, like, if you talk about it, it'll be better. Because if we talk about it and we realize, I want out, yeah, I want out too, but I don't hate you. I don't hate you either. We can do this amicably. How positive is that? So that could be one of the things that's going on. Or, yeah, it could be the other way around, too. Like, I thought that you weren't interested anymore. I thought you weren't interested anymore. No, I'm interested. I am, too. Let's move forward. You know what I mean? So that's the importance of having those conversations. The time will be coming soon where you're going to have to talk about this if you want to save your relationship. If you are seeking love, you're single, a relationship, or you're seeking a commitment, a partnership, then we still need to like think about how or whether it's because we feel trapped, like in singlehood. Remember I was talking about being addicted to love and just like needing to be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship and not necessarily with the appropriate person in mind? It could be pointing to that. Like, we're just feeling stuck in being single, and that's horrible. Or we have a feeling about ourselves that that's a horrible thing. And clinging or being a clingy or sort of desperate person, that sends a vibe out, People can pick up on like a vibe of desperation or a vibe of, okay, this person's like super clingy. They're not giving me any space, any freedom, and that's not going to work for an air sign at all, especially not an Aquarius, not a Gemini. Funny thing is, it might be time for you to think about taking a break from dating if you are one of these addicted to love people. Moving on to the King of Pentacles for you water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And this is a really awesome card to have. you know, for love and relationship. Um, it's one of those sweep you off your feet cards. I was gonna say somebody can sweep you off your feet, and you probably like you always say that. Yeah, there's a few of these cards that can mean that. This is one of them. Somebody very generous, likely very stable. They may own their own business, or you know, be in some sort of like supervisory or managerial capacity wherever they work. Possibly an earth sign, so you know that they are typically, if they're true to their earth trait, you know, a hard worker, very dedicated, very committed, very grounded, possibly an actual Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn um, that's interested in you. And if you, this is a person with whom you want to try to definitely put your best foot forward, right? First impressions are important and all that kind of stuff. But this person, it's important to not pretend to be somebody that you're not. Doing that with this type is really going to ruin it. There may not be like a second chance to show them who you actually are. If you show them who you actually are, even if you are hard against yourself and you are judgmental, remember I said that the card from the other deck, the judgment card, mostly speaks about the judgment we put against ourselves. So you may think that you're undeserving, or you're not qualified. You're not up to snuff for this particular person. But if you are honest and genuine and positive, this person, this type here, that's being is somebody who will love you exactly for who you are. Being honest is really going to allow everything to fall into place. If you're already in a relationship with someone, then this card shows up to say that the relationship is probably going to get into a much more stable and comfortable space. But if you are dissatisfied with your relationship right now, there's a need to say something in order for it to change. Don't expect this type to sort of notice and recognize and change it, voluntarily without it being brought up. In fact, they may be focused, other than that, on like work and stuff. And so if you don't say something, they may not realize that, there's something wrong with the relationship. I think I'm just going to do the clarifications now and then move directly into the next spread without shuffling again, if you guys don't mind. So I'm going to pull the 4 next cards. Remember, this was our overall energy, it's Eternal Embrace. And the first card is the Judgment. So that's perfect for, as a clarifier or reconfirmation for the fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is going to be about feelings about yourself and or your treatment of others, and dealing with those, whatever that means. So like reaching out, forgiveness, acceptance, all those things. Moving on to the earth signs again, and your very wonderful energy of the 2 of Cups here. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Very nice. Your card is Liberation. So this is about freedom and positivity and self-love, and doing what makes you happy and being with whom makes you happy, and not worrying about what the world or family or friends think about your choices in life or love. And so that's awesome too. Us air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, the Matrix. Talk about feeling stuck and trapped, right? Here we got the Matrix. And so the idea definitely is to break away from this sort of systemic, which we can't be, air signs cannot be like trapped within like a structure like this. We definitely need to be free and to, move ourselves out of that energy. The Devil in reverse is an energy that, like in a general sense, is about, being ready finally to sort of remove yourself from a situation where you feel trapped. So I think we got the right card too. And last but not least, the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Your card is, it was upside down, but it is Mythic Reality. So again, like a too good to be true kind of person. And the King of Pentacles may feel like that because again, he's like, he has it all together. He's generous, he's stable, he's got a good job, or again, he owns his own company, very kind and loving and stuff. Only flaw can be that maybe he focuses too much on work and not enough on the relationship itself or you. That's a possibility. All right, so now, like I said, I used these already. I'll just stick them in here just for the sake of sticking them in here, sort of randomly. And we'll go on to the next spread, Divine Feminine. Our card is Resurrection. It could be about like rising from the ashes. It can be about making a comeback, us making a comeback and maybe trying to re-enter somebody's life, or maybe somebody re-entering ours. Something is coming back to life. This can also be after a period of being hurt or feeling hurt. You know, this is you like renewed and better and whole and healed already. As we talked about, and then maybe somebody comes presuming or expecting you to not be healed yet. The masculine as it relates to the feminine, it's acceptance. So this is a card of surrender, and this is a card of, yes, accepting, and maybe even accepting, being accepting of an apology, or hoping that we are accepting of an apology. I don't know why the cards are like not flat. I don't know. Whatever. The masculine as it relates to himself, we have the Magdalene. Which is kind of interesting. This is a card about like daring to be different and daring to, again, do what you please and live how you want, love how you want, who you want, not being afraid to make mistakes. It's all of that. So very interesting here for the masculine. The masculine, as it relates to the union or connection as a whole, and we have transformation. There's a major change happening in that regard, whether it is energetic or physical or both. Overall, we have the beloved. Very nice. So that's like a crowning card. What energy the masculine would have the feminine give to the union or connection if it were up to him? We have surrender. It's pretty interesting because he sort of told us that already here with acceptance. I said that this card represented the masculine as it related to the feminine, and its acceptance. Oh goodness. With another nude female laying down, accepting, surrendering. And then there's one here too. So really looking for the feminine to like put down her guard is what I'm getting with that. What energy the masculine himself is willing to sort of give to the union or, to pay particular attention to this week. And is the judgment. So again, maybe how he sees himself, how he sees other people, how he's viewed people, and and made maybe judgments and preconceived notions about himself or other people, others, perhaps the feminine. What energy the universe would have both archetypes, masculine and feminine, to give to the union or connection, and even wants to help us with. Right? We have free will, but if we are willing to use it toward this this action, the universe wants to help us with it, and it is heart and soul. And the outcome, whoa, Sacred sexuality. So I will read heart and soul. Look at all these cards that are representing the union. This is our overall energy, eternal embrace, the one that the universe wants for us, wants to help us with, heart and soul, and the outcome, sacred sexuality. I think this is a really strong, like picking up of the connection of the energy this week. All right, heart and soul. Let's see. Heart and soul. You are blessed and guided by the eternal spirit of love. Yeah, that's a perfect card for the placement that represents God or the universe, right? A positive transformation is occurring in your life at this very moment. Close your eyes and feel yourself bathed in the love which stems from the heart of the goddess. This card is confirmation that all is unfolding as it should. There is no need for concern, so stop taking things so seriously and trust. That sounds so much like the Ten of Cups too, which was our overall energy in the last spread. All unfolds in perfect harmony. Life is always full of opportunity. I am guided and protected. I surrender my concerns to the goddess of eternal life. Eternal embrace. Isn't that something? And the other card was sacred sexuality. Sacred sexuality. Sexual energy is perhaps the strongest motivating force that we humans possess. Yet, this energy is also one of the most misunderstood and misused energies. Sexual energy, when honored and combined with love, takes on a sacred form and becomes an extraordinary power. This form of sexual energy is the greatest creative force on our planet. Great achievements in all areas of life are possible when we learn to control and direct our sexual energy towards a particular endeavor. Sacred sexuality is a spiritual merging of two souls. This merger may be physical and spiritual, or it can be a purely spiritual one, or I would say energetic. Both are equally valid and powerful. Sacred sexuality is also a communion with the divine. Reflected through one another, you come face to face with the God or goddess of all creation. God / the goddess of all there is. It is through such a union that you soon experience a most profound sense of love and bliss. This experience will have a profound effect on your life. Honor it, for it is truly sacred. Thank the universe for this blessing. I hope you guys have enjoyed the love reading. I will be back soon with the new moon in Aries reading. Namaste.